What is up, everybody? We're here on another fun episode. We've got a very, very interesting guest. We've got Matt Lucero. So, with this one, we're going to be talking about probably what matters to everyone AI, data, and APIs, which is what metrics matter. What do we focus on? You focus on the wrong thing and you go in the wrong place.
So the best metric that you can have is the most bottom of funnel metric possible, which is revenue generated from cold email sent. The most important one obviously being revenue. I like to share this with everyone, how I kind of think about stats is there's four ones I care the most about: revenue and sales. Email sent, so who are reaching out to, or how many people are reaching out to. Replies, how many people respond. Positive replies, how many are interested. Meetings booked.
Do not overcomplicate crap is the easiest way I can summarize these four podcasts. And do not overcomplicate it. Be straightforward, do the hard work, get what needs to get done, and we're winning. What is up, everybody? We're back again for another beautiful episode with none other than Matt Lucero. Both of us are struggling with our shower schedules because, as you can see, we're wearing the same clothes for over 2 to 3 weeks. That's a lie. We've been doing this pretty much for the past half an hour to 45 minutes, and Matt just got us through copy. He's walked us through his inspirational story as to how he's made it, how he's hustled from tech sales to then close and build his own agency to where it is, and operational efficiency in terms of automations, what to focus on, and how to build a very profitable business. So with this one, we're going to be talking about probably what matters to everyone, AI, data, and APIs, which is what metrics matter. What do we focus on? You focus on the wrong thing and you go in the wrong place. So Matt, jumping straight into it. I want to ask a stupid question, which I think a lot of people ask, which is open rates and reply rates. Let's not focus on that. Let's just go straight into what matters, as you said, which is focus on show up rates and opportunity conversion. What is that?
Yep. Yeah. So I would say there's, at the end of the day, if you're watching this video and you're trying to send cold emails, you're doing it to make money. And so the best metric that you can have is the most bottom of funnel metric possible, which is revenue generated from cold email sent. In reality, there's usually steps in between that. And so the funnel breakdown of everything from end to end that I would care about on outbound side is how many emails are we sending, how many reply rates or what is the reply rate we use as a proxy for deliverability. So email sent, reply rates, then interested reply rates. So people that say, yes, I'm interested and want to learn more, meetings booked, and then going down, show rate, qualified lead, closed deal. That's probably the whole funnel at the end to all the way to the end. On the cold email section, I care more about sends, replies, interested replies, meetings booked. And then if I am managing the sales process, I care about the bottom ones. The most important one, obviously, being revenue. If you send, 10 million emails and get the best numbers on paper, but none of them closing the deals, that's worse than sending 5 emails, getting 5 deals, and making a bunch of money. So at the end of the day, there's an oversimplification where it's all that matters is revenue. But the way that you get to that revenue is you usually have to optimize each part of the funnel on the way there because, to get it across the bridge, every brick kind of.
That's true, right? It's it sounds great to say, just focus on opportunities, but you need to get to an opportunity to begin with that.
Yeah, it's how.
Yeah, so that's completely fair. That makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah.
You said you focus on people should be focusing on positive replies over sheer contact volume. But I feel like that's a bit counter to how we've spoken about we test A/B tests at 1,000 before making results. So perhaps there's a contextual difference of what volume means to one or the other. So let's jump into that.
Yeah. So diving deeper, because there's so much nuance in looking at the stats. I'll just give, first of all, a high level breakdown. I like to share this with everyone of how I kind of think about stats is there's 4 ones I care the most about: revenue and sales, because sales is a whole other piece, right? Getting the sales call in the first place. Email sent, so who are reaching out to, or how many people are reaching out to. Replies, how many people respond. Positive replies, how many are interested. Meetings booked, how many scheduled. With those 4, I can deduce most of the time where the funnel is broken. If you aren't sending enough emails, that's where a lot of people break. They don't even send enough to begin with. I talked about on the 1 or 2 videos ago about how if at minimum I care about 1,000 for a split test. I feel if you're doing cold email at scale, at least in the style that I do it, 1,000 a day is just dipping your toes in the water. It's just getting started. And so I would start there, make sure you're sending enough volume. Replies, I use as a proxy for deliverability, because even if you have the worst email in the world, you have, a scam email, you're saying the worst thing in the world, you're saying something that's totally wrong, people are still going to give you nasty messages saying to stop contacting me. And so we use that as a deliverability metric. Positive replies, we used to indicate like if your strategy is resonating, and then meetings booked, that's your appointment setting process. Now, I care more about email sent, not contacts reach, because the limiting factor when you're sending emails is the volume of emails. It's not the volume of contacts. So like hypothetically, I could have 1,000 people I reach out to 10 times. That's 10,000 emails. Or I could have 10,000 people I reach out to one time. I don't care which one it is. I like the limiting factor on email sending is how many emails you can send per day. And if I get better results reaching out to more people less times, then I'm going to do that every day of the week. And so I think a lot of people get caught up like trying to like, reply rates in most sending platforms are calculated on leads contacted. I don't care about, I just want how many emails am I sending? Because that's what you're paying for. And that's the bottleneck. And then how many, bottom of funnel metrics you're getting, because we reach out to 10 people 2 times or 20 people 1 time. Like, I don't care. I just want the most volume, bang for the buck for every email that we send.
Makes sense. I don't think I can beat that. I have another question over here that I'm clearly looking at, but I want to sort of flip that across and ask you something, right? This is kind of like when we've had this in our tech test or in on a programmatic side of things, where the data says something, you think that is what you have to fix, but it's actually something else you have to fix together, right? So I'd love to know a situation where you thought, looking at this number, this was a problem. Turned out something else was a problem altogether. Do you have a situation that you can think of?
Yeah, for sure. We had a case where our like reply rates were low, which we use as kind of like a back napkin deliverability metric. And then what we realized is that so going back to like the sending multiple sequences, if we hit one person, let's just use 10 times to be the extreme, email 1 and email 10 are going to get way different response rates. Like the more follow-ups you send, the reply rate's going to dip. And so we use that as a proxy for deliverability. And what we see sometimes is deliverability, or like not deliverability, reply rates decline. And we're like, hey, what's the issue? Why are we not, seeing these types of like what's happening with the mailboxes? Turns out the mailbox are fine. We just need more new leads. Like you'd be surprised of like, if you just pause all existing campaigns, create totally new fresh campaigns, and let like the old stuff kind of just let it be, you will see a huge uptick of results because you're hitting more new people fast. And like, that's probably one of the most overlooked. And a lot of other guys I think are talking about it now, that like it's such like I don't want to say it's like a killer, because some cases it does make sense to do follow-ups, but like people just let their campaigns run and run and run, and it just like kind of slowly tapers out, and they're like, they don't understand what's going on, when in reality it's just like, you are hitting people who you followed up with 3 or 4 times, and they're still not interested, instead of hitting more new people that could be interested. And so that can have a wild variance across like all metrics that you're tracking. And so like, keep an eye out on that. If you want to like do a fresh start, just like pause all campaigns, run some new stuff. Sometimes you'd be surprised like how much that can.
Not only to your point, like I've been like sort of people don't realize that mailboxes were not built for what we're doing, right? The mailbox is simple.
Yes.
Send a message, you're meant to get a reply back. It's built for office work. It's built for that, right? And then when you're sending people follow-ups, that is 3 or 4 messages now in terms of like your chest pool of total messages sent versus total messages received. You are building up the wrong pool. So sometimes mailboxes don't die because of spam or copy or black. It's just because you just sent too many and got too few replies. So you need to optimize on getting a reaction. It's you want to be the younger sibling as often as you can be, right? And I think that's the focus.
Yes.
So I love that. I think that's the world has definitely gone from 1 to 5 ratios to 1 to 2 ratios. And to your point, others have spoken about this as well. So, but again, nuancing this so that we don't get caught out. It's not a blanket statement. Sometimes you do need to send the 3rd or 4th nudge, but you just need to be smart enough to know when and where. So
I would say that the real answer is you send the email that maximizes the chance to reply. So imagine there's a super segmented, highly relevant audience. Every email you're sending, yes, it will diminish relative to the first email, but compared to a new email that would be in a really broad audience, it might be better. So there's super deep nuance there, but it's like the short answer, which is a super easy blanket statement to make, is send the email that gets the highest conversion rate. That typical answer, the typical way to do that is more people, less follow-ups. But there is nuance, and sometimes there's that really, really hyper segmented audience, and you do want to hit them with 5-6 reply or follow-ups because there's not a lot of them, and every time you hit them, it works. So like there is a lot of nuance there.
I think to do the thing that gets the most outcomes. So if you see most replies on the second one, yes, focus on that, but also worthwhile asking what the second one's getting you the replies, not the first one, right? So I think that's a
agreed.
On that same front, since we're talking about replies, when a campaign is getting replies, but it's not converting to meetings, something that happens so many times with so many people because they focus on that top level. At some point now, we're taking the funnel and moving backwards, which is let's not focus on opens now. Let's focus on replies. Okay, I'm getting replies, but they're not converting, right? What's the diagnosis at that point? Is it there's no branding for that company, so people do some research online,
yes,
and they see like, yeah, this is dodgy, or what is it?
It's a lot of things. Also, for nuance, we're assuming interested. Let's assume someone's like, yes, I'm interested, and they don't convert to a call. If you're at that phase, couple things. One, you either misled them. You said, hey, we're going to do this amazing thing for you. And you say, hey, I'm going to give you $1 million. Let's talk. And they're like, yeah, where's $1 million? You're like, actually, I want you to run through my 50-step sales process. Like that's one problem. Rare, but to be noted. The second thing is speed to lead and follow-up aggressiveness. A lot of times people don't respond quick enough. I think a lot of people put an emphasis on it, rightfully so. I think another thing that people really fumble and might not be talked a lot about is what I think of it is like talking past someone. So let's say someone says, hey, can you tell me how Smartlead's different than XYZ competitor? And your response is, Smartlead's an email sending platform. We send cold emails. That is you answered appropriately, correctly, and quickly, but you didn't answer their question. Like you're speaking, they have an objection and you're not addressing it. And then when you try and say, hey, let's get on a call, they're like, well, you didn't even answer my question. I see that fail so many times that like you are not addressing the root of it. And then also when it comes down to like the messaging in your follow-up response is you want to tie in the reason that the question that they're asking with the reason they should get on a call. The way I like to think about it in like sales terminology, this also helps with like sales call 1 to sales call 2 is like breadcrumbing. So you want to give them a reason to get on a call. It's not just, hey, let me get on a call so I can twist your arm for 2 hours. If I said, hey, I sell water bottles, or I sell these canned sparkling drinks. Let's hop on a call. That way I can send you a free sample of them, but we need to hop on a call so I can get your address and, save the back and forth over email. Now that gives them a reason to get on the call, and it also ties in an incentive to get on the call so that they're not just there to be. So I think a lot of people mess up not answering the question that people are asking. They don't give them a reason to get on a call. They either misled them in the email or they're not responding quick enough. And then on top of that, if you really want to supercharge it, dial all the interested leads, LinkedIn message all the interested leads, and follow up aggressively. A lot of people underestimate, like, these guys don't know who you are. You need to like be a little bit, you don't just like lay down and expect them to be trying to, beg you to give you money. So
a number of times I've spoken to someone or the other and just like random customer calls or Slack DMs. I'm like, all right. I was like, buddy, if you who's paying me and I don't know who you are, how are you going to expect someone else to know who you are? Like, you have to be a bit more proactive about this, right? So that's just how the world works.
Exactly.
So it is pretty much how that works. So I've got 2 more questions for you. To one thing is when you're presenting results to clients, right? How to use, if you're using Smartlead's data, how to use the SL data to educate them on what metrics actually matter? Like, how do you, what are the things they need to focus on? And what do you tentatively see clients take on as vanity metrics that they should not focus on?
Yeah. I don't think there's a whole ton of vanity metrics, if I'm being honest. Like, a lot of metrics different things mean different, different, like I wouldn't use reply rate to assess if your campaign scripts are good or not. I would use interested reply rate. I actually, I'm going to see if I can share screen on this Riverside, because I'm going to show you, like, this is literally straight out of the presentation that we share with our customers now whenever we onboard people, if I can pull it up in time. But basically, I have a list of the metrics and I ran through them, briefly already. But like, I ran through the metrics and like what we care about and how that kind of like ties in. So I'll show like this as an example. Let me see if I can share screen here really fast. So this is like an example of what we educate our customers on. If we don't have entire screen, here we are. This is what we show a lot of our customers. Here's the KPIs we care a lot about: sends, replies, interested replies, meeting booked, and general benchmarks and what they mean. So if you're watching this video, you can pause, read this, you can educate your customers on this or whatever, if you're a lead gen agency, or if you're running your own campaigns. This is like what we use. And again, these metrics vary. Like, don't take this as be all end all gospel. These are our numbers. There's so much variance. We have some customers that get 10 times better results in some of these variables, and some of them they get less. But like these are how we kind of like structure and frame the results and like what they mean. So in sake of time, you can pause this video, read it, and like that's how we kind of do
Lovely.
it. So.
That got an answer that I wanted. Lovely. Last one on this one, mate. Generate, but I think it's good to get the perspective view. What's one thing that you see other agencies say, I'm focusing on this, and you're like, no, that's not what you're meant to focus on. You're meant to be focusing on something else.
Yeah. Good talent. You need good talent if you want to scale. Like I mean, there's no, I would say that's like a very generic answer, but like I see a lot of people cheap out, and like obviously if you get good, like there's a reason why, and I think we talked about this on the last one. There's a reason why Meta is paying hundreds of $1 million to get the best AI engineers. The reason why there's a talent war is because good people generate good results. Like I think a lot of people cheap out on like getting good people in the business, and then whenever they start to leave, then the results like fall off a cliff. And like I've seen that firsthand where I've like hired people that we ended up having to let go, and it's like you just need good talent. You need to pay for good people, and also let's assume that that's not an issue. I think volume is a disproportionate driver of results. I think client selection is a disproportionate driver of results from an agency's perspective. From a client perspective, it's like, sell something that people want. And then another thing that I think people mess up on for agency retention is like just not having a good account management process. I see a lot of people that like, we've beefed up on this a lot, is like just meeting up with clients more, trying to be more proactive with replies. A big issue, like forget even the cold email stuff. It's like understanding what the client sells and their target market, and that market research does a lot to make sure that you drive results and make them feel heard compared to like the super technical cold email stuff. Like good offer, good relationship, good things executed at a basic level will outperform like amazing super uber cold emailer with like terrible, customer, terrible communication and stuff like that, just because
it is,
you need to understand
We've gotten 4 episodes in. We've got all the depth as that I could pull out of Matt's brain. And to ever do not oversimplify his efforts. Do not overcomplicate crap is the easiest way I can summarize these 4 podcasts. And do not overcomplicate it. Be straightforward. Do the hard work. Get what needs to get done. And we're winning. Awesome. Well, Matt, thank you. We'll be seeing you another exciting episode with some more friendly faces to talk about more strategy, sales, and outcome. Have a good day, man.